Chapter 10. I want everyone to know that this next section will be very, very complicated. It will take the perspective of everyone that I can. And I hope you enjoy the last chapter of Blood Hunters Book 1. May it begin. The night was ending relatively soon. But there was something that was wrong. I could hear and smell a presence coming from the south side of the castle. And I began to understand what was going on. The war had begun. The hunters were on the way. They were going to try and take this castle by force if they have to. I say, let them. I looked at my subjects and I yelled at the top of my lungs, "Go, my army! We will finish this fight once and for all. Slaughter every one of them without cause, and slaughter everyone that you can. Bring survivors and they will suffer. Bring me my children, and I will make them suffer a greater pain than even the procedure." May the hunt come to a grand conclusion today. This hunt is going to be very fascinating. But I could smell a group of carriages coming from one side of the castle. It wasn't the side of the other hunters. I looked and saw the carriages coming. They were filled most likely with hunters. Trying to outplay me, huh? Nice try. Burn those carriages, now! My subjects nodded, and I sat there, in my chair, just swirling a goblet of blood. This day is going to be one that the world will remember, not just the hunters. This next section will take care of Zach's perspective. I hope what he's doing is right. I mean, with the moon coming out, we're at a disadvantage. And Abby looked at me and said, "Well, at least it's not a fog. I guess that's fair. Hunters! This nightmare ends today." I know Max said the exact same thing, but today, we will not let them take any more lives. We will bring Dalen to his knees and watch him beg for death. May the hunt end today. Charge! And we charged with great force, soldiers pouring out of the castle, charging at us. It was like a wave of darkness emerging upon us. But we stood fast, and we stood strong, and our bullets were true. Shot after shot I took, killing one and another and another and another, and I was not going to go down without a fight. We saw so many dead already before the fight had even truly begun. This war, I was determined to see it to its bitter end if I had to. I was going to give anything to see Dalen die as the dog he was. He was going to suffer every pain and every horrible feeling he had ever felt. May the hunt truly begin. This hunt will end today. End of discussion. This next section will be taking care of Kyle's perspective. Do you really think that... How long do you think before they realize that the army is a distraction, not us? And then Sam said, "You have about 10 minutes. So, we only have 10 minutes to disrupt the fog ritual before the sun comes up. How long do we have before the sun comes up?" "An hour. We don't have long." "Okay, we gotta move fast." Connor came out of the smoldering wreckage. "We have 2 dead over here. How many over there?" 5 alive, 3 dead. Blast. We're already off at a disadvantage. Connor then said, "We have to move now. We end this nightmare once and for all." We charged through the back gate and slaughtered more and more soldiers. There wasn't supposed to be any resistance over here. Dalen must be expecting something else. He probably saw this coming a mile away. So it means we're now exposed? No. I don't think he was ready to know that we were coming. I think he was expecting someone to come. Or these are the defenders on this side. Let us begin. Sam, Connor said, take your soldiers and find that ritual. Disrupt it permanently. We'll deal with the rest. He nodded and said, where should we start looking? Go to a place that we wouldn't go. It also would probably be very heavily defended. Find it, disrupt that ritual, and we have a chance at winning this fight. He nodded, and then began to run. What about us? We're gonna go get our sister back. We're going to make this right. This war ends today. I nodded. And we charged deeper and deeper into the fortress, clashing with multiple legions of soldiers and breaking our way through their lines. We knew exactly where Sarah was, and we weren't going to lose her. Not this time. Not again. Even though we have our differences, she's my sister, and I will see her safe. This war ends now. This next section will be taking Sam's perspective. Me and my group of warriors kept charging deep into the heart of our enemy. Something that was only terrifying because, well, we were in the eye of the storm now. The true eye of the storm. Let us begin the fight. Me and my men began to make our way through room after room, encountering fewer and fewer resistance, until we came across a room that very clearly was held in high regard. 2 guards were stationed there. This meant that something was in there that they didn't want to know. We killed them efficiently and quickly. Then, we discovered the truth. The room was some sort of torture chamber. I saw a bed of thorns in the ground. Then I saw thorns all over it, in places that it shouldn't be. Ugh, that's rough. Then I saw whips with thorns wrapped around them. This room looks like a nightmare. And then one of my soldiers said, "Sir, we should really be continuing." Then it clicked. Wait. I think this is it. What do you mean, sir? Why would they be guarding a torture chamber? Why wouldn't they be joining the fight outside? I don't know, sir. Maybe because they're stupid? No. They're guarding something in here. Search around. Let me know if you find anything suspicious. A few minutes passed, and my soldiers found something. Ooh, what is that? A giant mechanical abomination. Maybe 20 feet tall. Ooh, I like this. We're coming back for this later. But come on. Sir, I found something. I ran as fast as I could over to the side and saw some sort of other hidden room. What in the world? I guess this is the room where they perform the ritual. Destroy everything. Burn to the ground. Who cares? Desecrate it. Pee on it. I don't know. Just get rid of it. We have to get rid of this. Yes, sir. After we finished that, I immediately turned my eyes over to the giant robot. Looked like it was big enough to fit all of us. I said, "Men, we're gonna do something really stupid and really crazy, and we're going to have fun." They all nodded. We hopped into the robot, and I saw a slot for my arms and my hands, and then I felt slots underneath my feet. I put them in, and it had begun. The creature began to move, and it was so strange, like operating another suit, operating another body. It was not new to me, but it was very strange, to say the least. We started marching, one after another, 1 foot, and I could feel the weight. Alright, let me know when we hit something, because I can barely see a thing in this place. I can see 2 tiny dots, but I don't know what the point of them are. Maybe that's where you're supposed to look, sir. Yeah, that's a great idea. You're gonna be my eyes, okay? Seems like this was made for a bunch of goblins or something. And then we took step after step. Sir, we're about to hit the battlefield. Okay. Let's finish this. This next section will be taking Abby's perspective. The battle was rough. We were losing numbers fast, but so were they. Their numbers endless, though. That was the problem. It felt like they just kept coming back again and again and again. Even with the combined strength of all the orders, it was still a losing fight. We weren't at full strength, let alone at the ability to even remotely face this army. But I held on to my resolve. I threw a few bombs into the distant field, helping to break a little bit of their attention off of our archers and onto us, because our archers needed the support. And then our gunsmen would do some heavy firepower. A few mortar shells launched into the sky, hitting multiple groups of soldiers and a few of our own men. The mortars were dangerous, and this was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. We were losing casualties now from our own side. But then from the corner of my eye, I saw something huge. "What is that?" I said to myself as I continued to slash and clash with every single vampire I could find. It was some sort of automaton, and it started fighting for us, swinging men left, right, and crushing them to a bloody pulp. Every action it made, it did more sufficient damage than anything else, and the fight finally felt like we had gained some upper hand, even if it was temporary. It was still a fight worth taking. We weren't going to lose this time. Not to Dalen, not to anyone else. This fight ends today. And we are going to see it end today. This next section will be taking Sarah's perspective. I sat there in my chamber, chained to the wall. I had blood dripping down from my forehead. They hadn't done the procedure to me yet, and from the looks of things, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get that chance. 9 times out of 10, everyone is out there on that battlefield being slaughtered. The battle was raging. I could see numbers clashing back, forth, back, forth. Some troops yelling fall back, and others saying advance. It was a battle that I couldn't see, but I knew it was going to end this way. They were going to all die if we didn't destroy this nightmare once and for all. A catapult was launched and hit the side of the castle. It didn't do any damage that was significant. I don't know what it did. Then, I could hear fighting outside my chamber. The door kicked in and I saw Connor. "Connor! It's good to see you again. Come on, let's get you out of this. Are you okay?" he said. I nodded and said, "Let's go and finish this." Agreed. There is no more time to wait. Let's go and kill us an abomination of nature. I nodded, grabbed my daggers, and I began to march. This next section will be taking Connor's perspective. This day had come, and to be completely fair, I didn't even know if we were going to win. There was a lot on the line here, a lot of death, and a lot of destruction, and this fight was only getting worse. From what I can tell from outside, the battle was getting worse and worse every passing minute, and we were on the defensive most of that fight. I charged against slave after slave, cutting them down without a problem. They're not soldiers. They're slaves to Dalen. We kicked open the door to the main hall, where he sat there with a goblet in his hand, and he said, "I was wondering when you'd get here. I knew you would. I knew I couldn't kill you. Not easily, anyway." We all drew our weapons and said, "Dalen, in the name of the Hunter's Order and countless crimes against the world, we commit you to death. This ends now, Dalen." I couldn't agree more. And in the blink of an eye, he was right next to me. Then said, "In the name of Dalen, I command you, kneel." I knew exactly what he was doing. The bracers began to pinch in my arms violently. And Sarah said, No, this is wrong. Hold on. We share his blood, right?" She said out loud. Then said, "In the name of Dalen, I command you release." The bracers then loosened on me. "Impossible!" He then grabbed Sarah and threw her across the room. And then grabbed Kyle and then slammed him into the ground. I drew my blade from my back and charged at him with a great war cry. I was not going to see this abomination live any longer than it had to. The battle was glorious between the two of us, and our blades clashed over and over and over again. We were practically equally matched, with he being stronger than I was. He then grabbed me and threw me across the floor. I managed to get back up on my feet while I continued to slide. Sarah charged up and tried slashing at him a few times, her daggers missing, but then got him in a single cut on the cheek. He sat there and said, "Congratulations. That's the only blood you're going to be spilling today." Then kicked her across the room. She slammed against the wall, and the wall cracked. Then Kyle jumped up and slammed his axe into the ground, launching Dalen back only a few inches. He then continued to punch him multiple times, again and again and again. And as he did, I charged at Dalen, my blade at the ready. And I slid as fast as I could and got in between him and Dalen. I was not going to let this fight go on any longer. Our blades continued to clash, with he being faster and stronger than I was. But he was as skilled as I was. We were almost evenly matched. The two swordsmen, myself included, fought violently. He was taking blow after blow after blow. Every cut I did to him only made him more aggressive and more angry. It wasn't something I relished the idea of. This fight was going in his favor, and he knew it. I was picked up then, and then slammed to the ground. A tiny bit of blood fell from his cheek and landed into my mouth. I could feel a rush of energy and power like I had never felt before, and I grabbed him by the neck and threw him on the ground next to me. And I began to lose all instincts, all desire, and my hands began to grow ever so slightly to the point of claws. And we clashed like animals, no longer human and vampire, now two animals on the cusp of survival. And it was dangerous, not only for him, but for me. The blades were no longer useful to us, so we had to resort to our own base strengths. And again, he had me in that, but I wasn't going to go down without a fight. I was going to bring him with me, if it meant every fiber of my being was to be destroyed in the process. He then picked me up and slammed me back on the ground. I kicked out his foot, and then punched him before he could fall on the ground. Then, the battle continued to rage on. Sarah and Kyle stood on the side. They knew if they just got in the way, that they would probably die. Our blood began to cover the floor. He made a claw scratch against my chest, and I made one against his, and our blood began to cover the ground, and the pools of blood that emerged were deeper than any river I could have imagined. Or at least, that's what I saw. The blood, rage, crazed fiends we had become, and everything else faded. My only concern was bring that abomination of nature to his knees and make him beg for death, for all the wrong he ever did not only to me, but to my family, the only family I have now, and I'm going to make him suffer for it. Then I grabbed his hand, and he grabbed mine, and they broke it. I clawed at him again and again and again, but then he grabbed me and put his foot on my neck, then said, "What makes you better than me? Don't you understand, 8? Don't you know the truth? You are just as bad as me. You butcher innocents for the sake of the fact that they are monsters. That is all that you see them as. Monsters deserve as much of a right to live as you do." "Yeah, but I don't believe that you get the right to decide everyone else's fate. And what makes you decide the others? You don't have the right to decide monsters' fate and decide if they live or die. And so you're becoming like us? I'm failing to see your reasoning, Dalen. I am trying to cleanse the world of a plague, the Hunter's Order." I then pushed him off my neck, and then clawed him again. Then I said, "Dalen, you don't get it, do you?" "Oh? And enlighten me, please. As long as someone like you exists, there will always be someone like me to stand in your way and die if it means bringing you down with me. Don't you understand the truth? That there is only war between the monsters and the hunters. And yes, some are innocent, but others deserve the death that they so desperately have been digging a grave for. Like you. I'm going to make you die and pay for everything you've ever done. I am going to make you suffer. You will regret ever bringing me back to life. May my night end with your life in my hand." And the battle continued to rage on. Hunter and monster. Now we were back to our base instinct. My blade back in my hand, and I fought violently again and again and again, and he picked me up and slammed me back into the ground, nearly bringing his own blade upon me. The battle was rough for both of us. I took slash after slash after slash, and I barely managed to make enough a defense before I could even make an offense. Then he grabbed me by the throat, then said, "You were such a promising candidate," then stabbed me in my gut. No. I will not die like this. Not by you. Well, know that you died doing more damage than any of the hunters ever could. And know that you gave me more of a headache than any other creature on the planet can. You cannot win this fight, Connor. Then I said, are you sure about that? Then I saw the sun begin to descend upon his hand, and he began to turn to stone. And he began to scream in agonizing pain. I said, no more, Dalen. No more lies. No more death from you. I then slammed his hand off of me, breaking it into 1,000 pieces. Then I brought him into the light. He began to slowly turn into stone. But then he said something that honestly will haunt me for the rest of my days. No matter what you do, 8. No matter what you do, no matter where you are, no matter how badly you want it to be wrong, know that I will always be with you, and you will never be rid of me. And he continued to turn to stone. And I found the blade in my gut, and I fell over. Sarah came rushing to my side, but I began to see nothing but blackness. I heard her words yell, "Go get a medic, right now!" And that was the last I ever heard. A few, I'm going to assume, days passed, and I was just sitting there in my dreams, contemplating everything I did. Then I heard some voice. It wasn't Dalen and it wasn't mine. I didn't know what it was. But there was someone else in here with me. I saw a tall figure. Large, dark, and very cold. He sat there and said, "Congratulations, Connor." "Who are you?" "My name is irrelevant. It's more so, what am I? That's the bigger question. Because I am and who I am are the exact same. And we have met before, haven't we?" And then it clicked. Death. Bingo! Yes, I am Death. And it is quite an honor to make your acquaintance again, but this time under a different name. What do you mean, a different name? Do you really believe that Connor was your real name? Oh, no, it wasn't. But I'm not going to tell you that, because there's going to be a little bit of fun. The reason I'm here is to congratulate you. For what? For killing Dalen, of course. That man was so difficult to deal with every day. Honestly, I'm very pleased that he is dead. What did he do that was so bad to you? Well, to be completely fair, he made my job obsolete. Your job? Collecting souls, of course. He made it kinda obsolete. You see, what the rebirthment process did, and what he did, took someone's soul from here and put it back in their body. Thus, making my job kind of obsolete if you can bring everyone back from the dead. So I have the same soul? More or less, yes. But you will never gain your memory again. That was destroyed when your body died the first time. I'm afraid that there's just nothing you can do. He had some sort of twisted grin on his face. What are you aiming for? Oh, I'm not aiming for anything. Then, I felt a burning sensation around my neck. I immediately tried to stop him,
Easy now. There's more to this than, well, what I'm doing to you. I saw an amulet around my neck then. What is this? What it is, well, death's mark. The others, you help them and fill in a gem slot. I can grant you one wish. Anything your heart truly desires. But it has to be from me. If you ever wish to talk, or if you want to make your wish, just rub it. But remember, it only can be activated once you have all 4 gems. You have mine, which is the amulet itself. But now you need to get the others. The others? Oh, you'll meet them in due time, I guarantee it. Well, this has been pleasant, Connor, but I probably have a lot of work ahead of me, and so do you. I woke up in the infirmary. I was surrounded by men and women who were pretty badly beaten. My gut began to hurt extremely bad. I remember what happened. I was stabbed. Why is it always the head? I said to myself. I tried standing up, and it hurt a lot, but I managed to breathe through the pain. I began to walk around. I began to try and find someone. Maybe Sarah, or Kyle, Sam, Abby, I don't know. I was just looking for someone. Then I heard celebration, cheers within the main hall of Huntsman's Keep. I began to walk towards them because I figured that's probably where it is. When I opened the door, I saw men and women celebrating, cheering, "The monster is dead, the monster is dead, and we have gained victory." I looked around, and then, when I entered the room, it began to get cold, very dark. But it wasn't from a presence in the room, or if it was coming from me. All the hunters stared at me in silence. The room felt so empty. It felt so just dead, like there was nothing in it. They all stared at me. Then I said, "What? What is it?" Then I heard a voice, a familiar voice, saying, "They're showing you respect." I turned, and I saw Sam. "You know, what you did in 1 month, we couldn't do in 5 years. We spent a lot of time trying to find and put Dalen down. You did it in a way we couldn't." I sat there and said, "I was just doing what simply needed to be done." "Oh, don't be that way. Raise a mug for our new hunter. Raise a mug for Connor. May he never die in battle." And then everyone began to cheer. Seriously, what exactly are we celebrating? Dalen's death, of course. Where have you been? Oh, right, the infirmary. How long was I out? You were out for maybe a week and a half, I think. A week and a half. Man. Where are the others? Back at Morlith Castle. They're wanting to, extract treasuries, but they said that you and your siblings get first dibs on everything. Whatever you want in there is yours for the taking. I looked at my hands. I saw the bracers were still on. We tried to get rid of those, but they're pretty much now a part of you. I guess Dalen really wanted to make sure that you never forgot who he was or what he did to you. You're telling me that, well, there's nothing really else to say other than Dalen's dead? Yeah. It's over. Dalen's dead. The nightmare's over. We can finally move on. I said, well then, if we're celebrating, I then grabbed a mug and began to chug whatever was in it. It began to burn down my throat. Then I said, let us raise a toast to all the fallen. Raise a toast to the future. And raise a toast to those who we have saved. And everyone began to cheer again. Then Sam said, you know, they're still waiting for you to pick a treasure. Sarah and Kyle have already taken theirs. A pocket watch, it looked like, and a some other form of clothing, I think. I didn't know what it was. I honestly didn't hear anything about it. What do? Beats me. But they're waiting for you to take one trinket. I said, very well. Drink my fill for me, I guess. And then I traveled to Morlith Castle. The sun actually shining. It was quite remarkable. It felt very good. I can't believe the war was over. I looked around and saw many bodies and many stone statues. The sun came through and destroyed everything. All the evil in the world in this location was finally destroyed. Something I honestly am more than pleased to, say. All the destruction in the world, gone. All the evil that Dalen ever brought, gone. And all the torture that he did unto me, gone. I never truly felt this peaceful in a long, long time. I walked into Morlith Castle, and there was blood and bodies everywhere. I sat there for a minute and thought to myself, is it really over? I continued to wander through the halls until I found the treasure room. I looked around for a minute and saw pretty much nothing. Except, armor, weapons, but that was pretty much it. No gold, no nothing. It was quite impressive. I continued to look around and then in the corner of my eye, I saw a gun. The gun had a silver barrel. It was a pistol. It had a white handle with gold embroidering all over it. I lifted it up, and it felt weighty yet light, like it carried purpose, yet it still didn't carry anything at all. I looked around for a minute and said, this'll do. And then I turned it over, and I saw something that honestly changed everything. I knew exactly where this was going. Then I put the pistol behind me and started making my way back to Huntsman's Keep. This next section will take Abby's perspective. I was beginning to pack, getting ready for the next hunt. It was quite impressive. With Dalen dead, honestly, I didn't know what else I'd do. But it felt like a great burden was lifted off my shoulders. Then I heard Connor's voice say, so, what happened? You're already getting ready for your next hunt before the celebration's even concluded? Well, I'm thinking long-term here. You're not. We destroyed Dalen, yes. But now we created a power vacuum. And I'm 9 times out of 10 certain that someone is going to try and take that. Oh, you worry too much, he said in a sarcastic tone. I worry too much? Connor, have you not seen what we just dealt with for the past month? We're so very dead. I mean, honestly, you barely survived your own stab wound, so what makes you think that this is going to end any better for me than you? He said, "Yes. And if you're going to go out on a hunt, take this." He pulled out a small pistol. "What is this?" "It's yours." I looked at it, and it was very clearly not mine. Then he said, "Look on the bottom of the handle." I turned it around and saw a V. My eyes lit up. I knew exactly whose this was. "Connor, is this really what I think it is?" "Yes, it is." But why? Why? Why are you giving me this?" "Because you deserve it better than anyone else. It's your gun. Your mother's gun." My my eyes began to fill with tears. Then Connor said, "Don't worry about being professional. Go ahead. You're allowed to express whatever emotion you wanted." Then I kissed him. Uh, Forgive me, I shouldn't have done that. I just didn't know how else to repay you. "Abby, you didn't need to repay me. That's not mine to take. That's yours." Connor, I can't accept this." "Yes, you can. You can and you will, because it's your mother's gun. It's your gun." But, but why though? Why? Why are you giving me this? This was in the treasury. It's yours to take. "Because it's not. It's not mine and it's not mine to take. It's yours." Connor, I don't know what to say. "Abby, it doesn't matter. What's done is done and cannot be undone. It's yours. Take it. I'm not taking it back. There's no way this is not going repaid." I then pulled out my old gun and said, "A gun for a gun. Granted, mine has silver in it. I don't understand. What makes that gun stronger than this one? It doesn't make sense. When a bullet's fired, it picks up a little bit of that silver on the inside. My mother managed to forge silver in a way that, honestly, most of our smiths don't know how she did. She crafted this gun herself. What about that rifle on your back? That rifle? This whole thing? It's just a rifle I forged. The first of its kind, to be exact." "You forged a rifle? That's quite impressive, I'm not gonna lie. But, Connor, what you did is greater than anything I could imagine. Thank you. I mean it this time. Thank you. Abby, there's no need to be upset. There's no need to, be praising me. All I did was just restore something that was not mine to take." "No, I mean with Dalen. You killed him. You destroyed him. You did something I never could have. And for that, I thank you with every fiber of my being. I thank you deeply. Don't worry. It's okay. Well, I did what had to be done. Now you better get to your hunt before Zach has both our heads." "Yeah. You probably want to go speak to him. And your siblings. Any idea where my siblings are? Because I haven't heard from them in a while." "Well, last time I checked, they were in the training arena, trying to see who's better." Then I grabbed my satchel and I walked away. But I won't lie. Having my mother's gun back in my hand felt like a great burden was lifted from me and then immediately put back in my hands. And I plan on bearing this one much better. Then hunt had finally come to a conclusion. The hunt that I so desperately tried so hard to complete was over, and it was something I never expected from Connor. He did something that no other hunter can. Killed Dalen. Even I couldn't, and I knew it. But at the end of the day, I guess that's what it comes down to. End of book 1. If you enjoyed this series, then go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I am so grateful that the book can finally come to a conclusion. But we are not done just yet. We are so far from over. We are going to continue on this. I'm probably going to take a week or two to get it done. But thank you. Thank you so much for paying attention and for listening. Have a good one.